Hello, and thanks for tuning into Taste Radio, the #1 podcast for anyone building a business in food or beverage. I'm Ray Latif, the editor and producer of Taste Radio, and I'm here with my co-hosts John Craven, Jacqui Brugliera, and Mike Schneider. This episode features an interview with David Sagat, Stefan Ogeni, and Tony Sayas, who talk about the historic collaboration between Side Hustle, a London bar, and El Ticoleño, a famous tequila brand, to launch the Side Hustle Select Barrel Double Añejo.
Yum.
John thought that was the front three for Athletic Bilbao.
Yes, indeed.
I'm pretty thirsty now, though.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a contingent of Spanish footballers, but no, they're indeed, dare I call them, drinks, celebrities, and personalities that have come together for this really great collaboration.
So just as good.
Yeah. I just need to get a bottle. I think they might be sold out. Sorry, John.
It's okay.
I gotta admit, I'm kind of a hot mess this morning. I forgot my backpack. I forgot my laptop.
Is it on the backseat of a rental car in an In-N-Out burger?
Come on.
Someone smashed your window?
Yeah. No, I was flying out the door, and I wanted to make sure that I had my blazer and all kinds of other stuff that I need for an interview I'm doing later today. And of course,
you don't seem to have any of that.
I don't have any of that. No, I have the blazer. It's in the other room.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm just checking because we had some dark suppers.
We didn't have dark suppers.
You made me watch Donnie Darko.
Okay. So
well, are you talking about at Scopa? Because it was legit dark in there.
It was dark in there.
Yes. Scopa, a legit restaurant in Venice. But yeah, it's dark in there. We didn't have very dark conversations.
Piccolo.
But I asked Mike to watch a movie called Donnie Darko, which features Jake Gyllenhaal and his sister Maggie Gyllenhaal. But Jake is the focus of the film.
No, Maggie Gyllenhaal's brother Jake is in it.
Okay. Great movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest you see it. I think
it's bizarre.
It came out in 2003.
Good flick, very weird, but definitely.
I feel like he's in a lot of weird movies.
Jake
what's the one where he's like the paparazzi, and he's like Nightcrawler or something?
Nightcrawler, yeah.
Oh, Nightcrawler, that's a good movie. And then Enemy. You ever see that movie Enemy with Denis? It was directed by Denis Villeneuve. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Great movie. It's about basically he has either a doppelganger or another him living in the same city.
Oh, cool. I got to see that now.
Yeah.
I guess I just have to do his whole catalog at this point.
Well, you should definitely watch any movie directed by Denis Villeneuve. Again, I think I'm pronouncing his name. He did both Dune movies. He did Sicario, the first one. He did Arrival. He's a really good director.
I think you'd get a solid C+ for the pronunciation on that.
I appreciate you that.
Usually you're like a D- kind of guy, so that's pretty good.
It's too early to be getting it from all sides. So thank you.
I also feel like you should start a podcast just about movies.
Or pronunciation of last names.
Yeah. I mean, either or. You could have one for all.
The Ray Says People's Names podcast.
Yes.
That would be a hit.
I think it would be a hit, actually. I have a whole bunch of treats for you guys to try, and
Yay.
I know you guys brought some nice libations as well. Jacqui, I'm sure you have a few things to sample as well. And by the way, I'm a little bummed because Jackie's not in the same room as us as she had been for the past couple of weeks, but
I'm kicked to the curb again. I'm over here on the West Coast.
Yeah, all the way on the West Coast. Darn, not that.
Darn it.
At least you didn't. You're not dealing with jet lag, because I think I'm finally over it, but I'm not sure.
It was nice to have you in hugging distance, though.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it was nice that I could just drive home.
Yeah,
yes.
jealous of that.
That's a big plus when you're out on the West Coast. But before we go any further, we definitely got to talk about a scoop that BevNET covered. I would say that BevNET had the exclusive on this.
Seemed that way.
Mm-hmm.
Not earth-shattering news, but very, very surprising news to the industry. I was shocked by this as well, and I think John Craven, for obvious reasons, we'll get into that, was pretty surprised by this news. The news is that Coca-Cola and PepsiCo are preparing prebiotic soda launches for 2025. Our very own Marty Caballero covered this story, broke this news, noting in his story that Coca-Cola is set to release a juice-sweetened prebiotic soda in 12-ounce slim cans under its Simply banner. We know Simply for its orange juice.
And spiked.
It's going to come in 5 flavors: strawberry fruit punch, pineapple mango, lime, and citrus punch, each ranging from 50 to 60 calories per can, due to enter select regions in spring of 2025, and uses the tagline, "Flavor that pops." How about that? I like that. Yeah, there you go. Yes.
Interesting.
As for PepsiCo, it's resurrecting Soul Boost, originally launched in 2021 in limited markets as a functional sparkling water focused on mood and wellness. I don't know why they didn't think that was going to be a big hit.
From Coming to America?
No, that's Soul Glow.
Soul Glow, yeah.
Yes. So this revamp is going to be called Soul Boost Soda, featuring prebiotics from soluble corn fiber and sweetened with both juice and stevia. Number of SKUs is unconfirmed, but one flavor seen by BevNet, Berry Berry, contains 20 calories and 2 grams of added sugar per 12-ounce can.
We got to get this in our bellies.
This definitely got a lot of attention on LinkedIn. The story has been reposted and commented on by hundreds, if I dare say thousands, of people that are very interested in why these companies are doing this, why they're launching at this point, especially when you have the two big players in that space, Olipop and Poppi, seemingly available to be purchased.
Seemingly ripe for acquisition, Ray?
And I got to go back. I got to put John Craven on the spot here. I believe it was in April of this year, of 2024, when I asked you, brass tacks, are we going to see an acquisition of Poppi or Olipop this year? And I think your answer was, I believe so, at least within the next 18 months. Now, what, John Craven, would compel Coke or Pepsi to buy either of these brands when they're coming out with their own?
Ray. I have so many thoughts on this.
Okay, yes, well, go ahead.
Because I feel like we've seen this movie before, so to speak.
Okay.
Look,
Donnie Darko.
I think it's not Donnie Darko. I think, what the only thing that kind of surprised me with all of this is the timing of it. Because I think in some cases, I guess maybe I would have thought one of these to get acquired, and then the other big strategics who didn't make an acquisition to go launch their own to try to compete. But here we are, Coke and Pepsi are going to launch their own. And also, I think what's pretty unique about this is that when we've seen this in the past, it's often been like one brand that's the breakout, like Vitamin Water or Body Armor, stuff like that. And here we've got two brands breaking out kind of in the same category. So that part is kind of uncharted territory. But, I think where does this take us? Looking at some of these past, I don't know, Pepsi under Sobe launched Life Water in 2006 when Vitamin Water was sort of really starting to pop. And I guess it maybe made Coke pay more money for Vitamin Water in the end. And I feel like we also kind of saw a little of this of, Coke pushing on Powerade and then eventually buying Body Armor. There's probably other energy drink references that could be made too. But, I think this is something where, God bless them for trying, but I think, what it fails to sort of understand, and, this is very in line with what I've said before about not thinking that the prebiotics are actually what make Poppi and Olipop sing, is that the actual thing of value in those brands is ultimately the brand itself and its modern sort of like, the demographic it appeals to. And no offense to Simply, but I think trying to repurpose a juice brand into being a competitor, you've got apples and oranges. I feel like this has the risk of cannibalizing other Coke products, and certainly could be wrong, but I feel like this doesn't really change the outcome in the end. It just maybe modifies sort of the players and the timeline. Maybe Coke and Pepsi will do this. It'll work out for a little bit and a KDP becomes a new, potential suitor, or maybe they just give up, or maybe they still just plug along with this, but also acquire. Or it could also make other brands like a Culture Pop seem like an interesting target, even though it's, a lot smaller, but, it is a brand that I think, does have some traction. So, but yeah, I think, again, the timing of it was a surprise, and I guess the brands under which they're doing it with are a bit of a surprise. I don't know, for Pepsi, total, just guessing here, but like a brand like Bubbly maybe would be better than bringing back Soul Boost that didn't work the first time, but we'll see.
And there are analogs for this in other industries. Let's look at, technology. So you've got a big strategic, Facebook, for instance, that tries to do something similar to one of their competitors, Instagram. So Facebook eventually realizes that they can't do photos as well as Instagram, and they don't have the same kind of traction with the audience that Instagram does, so they buy Instagram.
Yeah, but why launch your own app or version of Instagram in the first place when in the back of your mind you know you're going to buy the other brand?
Well, because you don't. Maybe the deal isn't where you want it to be yet, and so you try your best to do something that will, deep six that competitor of yours or bring the value of that down overall, and then you get it for a better price. I mean, those are all strategies that could be in play now.
Also, I would say that, to give another thought on what you just asked, like going into a negotiation with, hey, we've got Simply that we just launched and is doing well, because obviously it's going from 0, so whatever it grows to is like, pretty good.
300% growth.
We don't really need you as bad. But, I think the other thing I would just add for our audience here too is that for me, this is also just a bit of a positive sign for 2025 in the beverage industry. And that obviously Coke and Pepsi, who at least for some period of time will probably be focused on one another, are going to have to spend some money to create awareness for this as a thing. And I think it is something that is pretty interesting in that they really haven't spent any money or meaningful money promoting soft drinks that have a better for you kick to them. And I think that is something that, will have a bit of a trickle down of, benefit to other better for you functional beverages. Certainly the more they spend, the better I think it'll be. And again, it's hard to really see either of these paths as being like billion-dollar brands, but whatever. Obviously the consumer sometimes is a fickle beast, but I do think short term it should be good for the industry to have these things roll out.
And the Facebook, Instagram example, just one last word on that, was largely Facebook buying their own audience was also in Instagram and then giving them this other product. So that could be the play here as well, because as we know, Instagram just ended up being a more, friendly user experience, the thing that brands are using more to communicate, and that just a lot of people prefer to use to communicate. And so they were able to just get like this kind of stranglehold on that whole market, which is what Coke or Pepsi could be trying to do if they build up either Soul Boost or Simply and then go ahead and acquire either Olipop or Poppi.
It feels like they're almost like testing into the space in an easier way for them, where they already have distribution channels, they have sports venues, they have, widespread access to these consumers, and they're just going to kind of ride the wave of better for you and see if their consumers, if that's like the key value prop, and then maybe down the road they do acquire something and add it to their portfolio, and maybe something dies off. Already Soul Boost died and is coming back. So they kind of seem to like recycle some things just to test within their own ecosystem.
You're making a beautiful point though, which is that you start the process and then you go and replace it with the thing that the people want. So you test it. They're like, oh yeah, this is doing okay. And then you replace it with Olipop or Poppi. Maybe it goes off from there. So I think Jacqui's got it.
It's also funny the
really
timing. I feel
there.
Like Coke and Pepsi just like shook hands and were like, let's see who wins this.
Let's go!
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at too.
Touch gloves.
The timing of both of them having plans for this, just seems sort
It's
of
like a
odd.
Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight.
Times 2, I guess. But
it's like, let the best man win. Let's see.
Yeah, I will.
It's a bro down.
Not to pile on, but the most memorable time that they tried this strategy repeatedly was in the early days of the energy drink category, where you had two super brand focused brands, Red Bull and Monster, and I guess to some extent Rockstar, and they rolled out a host of these like Coke had things like KMX, and Pepsi had a bunch of like Mountain Dew energy drinks, and none of this stuff ever really stuck. And again, those are places where, and I think much like Olipop and Poppi, the brand is such an important part of this. It's just hard to imagine that like you're going to lure a consumer away from one of those to get a Simply, like
just 'cause
or a Soul Boost.
People
Well-
are expecting KMX to drop an album or something.
Well, I think
That's a weird brand name.
it seemed like the runway for energy drinks was more impressive than I think the runway currently is for these probiotic or prebiotic sodas. I think the jury's still out on them. And I've talked to folks, including our very own, well, maybe not our very own, but our dear friend, Kenny Sadowski, who in our interview that we featured on Taste Radio a few months back, expressed that he wasn't so high on this space and that there was much to be learned and much more to be understood about these types of drinks. And I think maybe Coke or Pepsi, as to Jacqui's point, are just trying to figure out, is this something we want to get into? Is this worth the acquisition? And clearly it's not for them yet. Like the acquisition isn't worth spending or overspending at this point.
Well,
But
Seems
it
like
might
it's
be
not
next.
Coke or Pepsi. It
Yeah,
seems
well,
like it's Coke
whatever.
and
I mean,
Pepsi.
It might be
Both
next year,
trying
it
the
might be
same
the year
thing.
after, but right now it feels like the price is either too high or they just don't know enough about the category.
well, for the record, brands like KMX that were launched, they were launched at a time when the energy drink category was a fraction of what it is today,
Sure.
and no one was bullish about it becoming a multi-billion-dollar industry.
No one was bullish about energy drinks?
They were bullish, but it was, I think,
No pun intended.
it was very much at the time seen as this thing that was like, the weird stepchild of, the beverage industry. And then it became something that was really key, I think, to like the CSD category as a whole, like actually being somewhat kind of relevant, even though it's tracked differently. But, it was ultimately like a threat to soda. And I think in that same light, like what Olipop and Poppi are building is for sure a threat to like the zero and, the 0 calorie soda business that is so vital to Coke and Pepsi. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that this is something where like, I feel like they're trying to slow down the threat, but to some extent, it really risks the threat becoming bigger and ultimately them perhaps paying a lot more for Olipop and or Poppi than they would have without going down this path.
The other thing,
Anyway.
the other thing I would say about this is, are mainstream consumers going to trade their Diet Cokes and their Diet Pepsis and their Coke Zeros and their Pepsi Zeros for Olipop and Poppi? That's the big question, right? I mean, that is the $1 million,
The answer
question.
some of them.
Some of them, right? But is it enough? Is it enough of their customers?
I think it's a very different strategy, which is why this is like such a big threat to their core CSD business, which is that rather than trying to convert Diet Coke drinkers as the starting point, they're getting the drinker who never drank Diet Coke, right? So like kids, right? So kids who are like obviously sugar conscious, like want, fun branding, or just never even entertaining a product like that. They're just going straight to these newer brands.
So instead of starting with a Coke or Pepsi product, they're starting with
Right.
Olipop and Poppi.
Because they don't have
saying.
years and years of conditioning that on Diet Coke
Right.
or diet
the
flavoring.
diet
Yeah,
products.
For the
for
diet, products. I
products.
see what you're saying.
I mean, I think those are sort of like, they're like staple goods. Have these kids had Coke Zeros and stuff? Probably. But, it's not like a brand that they identify with. Whereas I think these are brands that the consumer who's into Poppi and Olipop actually care about and identify with, which is very different than how Coke's brand has existed for like 100 years,
I also feel like this is kind of Coke's strategy when it comes to M&A and has been since they bought Body Armor, which is that they are more willing to invest in their established brands, their legacy brands, than they are to buy new ones. I mean, just look at what they've done in the beverage alcohol space. Everything they're doing has already been established and proven out in terms of brand.
Sure.
And as opposed to buying a beverage alcohol brand or creating a brand new one. They like Simply, Fresca, Coke.
Sure.
I mean, all those have brand equity that they're saying, hey, let's just continue to invest in this. And James Quincy, who's the chairman and CEO, has been like, look, billion-dollar brands are our bread and butter. So why mess around with anything else? And that's why I think he might just kind of be bearish on
see.
Olipop or Poppi. So we'll see.
We shall see.
At the end of the day, he's the one that pulls trigger. Just to be clear, we have a ton of respect for and think highly of Olipop and Poppi, myself very much included in that conversation. They were our co-brands of the year for 2024. Just a remarkable job that each of those founders are doing. to create basically a whole new segment of soda. Really remarkable. For the full list of award winners, just head to BevNET.com and look in the menu for the Best of 2024 award winners. You will find a group of some of the most outstanding products that we've seen over the past year. And you can do the same at NOSH.com. Follow the exact same process because I'm not going to repeat it.
You can also do it at Brewbound.
Oh, yeah, Brewbound. You can do it at Brewbound as well. By the way, last episode we didn't get to talk about Brewbound because we were in the midst of Brewbound. What a tremendous, great event. Congratulations to Hoorays Girl Beer and its founder, Ray Bebuck, who came out swinging with a fantastic presentation, bested 10 other brands in that Brewbound Pitch Slam competition. And that was just one part of a really fantastic
Including
show.
Beer Girl.
Including another brand called Beer Girl.
Yeah, which was phenomenal as well.
Yes. Yeah. Hoorays Girl Beer, ultimately the winner. And congrats and plaudits and applause to Justin, Jess, and Zoe for putting together a tremendous event. The content was once again fabulous. And you can watch all that content now, yes? If you're an insider in particular, you can watch and revisit all of the content from BevNET, NOSH, and Brewbound Lives by going to the respective .coms. But you got to be an insider. You got to be an insider to watch that content. Jacqui, how easy is it to become an insider?
You literally just go to our website and click the
You see
button.
that?
Become
That's all
an
it is.
insider.
Yeah. Click a button. You click a button, you enter about 2 minutes of information, and you're done. Yeah.
And then you're done. You have access to everything.
Fabulous. Now, earlier this week, we published our interview with Trey Kennedy, the well-known comedian, particularly on Instagram. He's got 3 million followers. And he's also the founder of Basic Sellers, which is a brand of, of wine that's pretty uncomplicated and easy to understand. They have 2 varieties, a California Pinot Noir and an Italian white wine. Both come in 187 milliliter glass bottles. I think we talked about this a couple episodes ago, and I've been waiting to get these samples, and we finally have them. Not going to try them now, but just immediate thoughts on this. I kind of feel like this is perfect, right? And that you don't want too much wine all at once. That is
the world's smallest wine bottle.
It is. But it's like cute. It says it's 1 serving, but you can definitely get 2 servings out of this.
Yeah, that's probably 2 glasses, 187 milliliters.
Where's your punt, Ray? Where's your punt?
There's no punt on this.
It's kind of like a cooler version of the ones you get on like airplanes, you know?
Yes, exactly. This is a quarter bottle of wine, 187 milliliters. So I'm excited. I'm going to try these later on and report back on the flavor. But apparently, these are high quality premium wines, just in a much more accessible and portable format. So well done, Trey and team.
Punt free.
Yes, and their partner In Good Taste, which is a producer of premium wines, in particular, packaged in these smaller bottles.
Ray, as usual, I'm mad jealous of the UK because the Super Foodio all peanut butter cups, they finally launched.
Oh, yeah? Do you have any?
We ate them all.
Yeah, we ate them all.
We got them pre-launch. You got to try them.
I don't.
They have.
Oh, I did get to try them. Yeah, the smaller, tiny peanut butter.
Well, there's the little buttons, but then they've got the all peanut butter cups. That
I love the buttons, so I'm gonna love these.
Yeah, they have peanut butter and jam flavor. They've got an original. They've got a no sugar added. The no sugar added for me was just mind-boggling stuff.
Okay.
I mean, they're all just excellent. So jealous. I guess you can get them at Tesco now.
Your jelly of the peanut butter and jam.
Jelly of the peanut butter and jam. Yep. Hopefully we'll get to meet up with Jag and Nirali again at some point soon. But congratulations on your launch, and I just hope those are going like gangbusters. That is such a good product.
It is. I had some in the car, and luckily they didn't melt in the car because I think it was like a couple months ago. You gave me them.
Yep.
So I wanted to talk about a brand that I posted on Instagram a couple days ago. This brand is called Tokyo Banana. So apparently Tokyo Banana has gone viral. It's a pretty common sight in Japan. Apparently it's the official souvenir snack of Japan. But these kids, I don't know how they do it. When they get a hold of something, they put it on the TikToks, on the Instagrams. All of a sudden it becomes really, really popular. I purchased this at H Mart. It is a beautifully packaged yellow box, and it cost $14.99. And at the time, I didn't know how many of these bananas were in here. Now, to be clear, this is a sponge cake filled with banana-flavored custard cream. So imagine a better-for-you Twinkie. And I say better for you, I'm not sure how better for you. It just doesn't have any artificial ingredients in there. Better for you style Twinkie with banana cream. And it needs to be refrigerated. So this was refrigerated. I'm going to open this box here.
Does sound delicious.
And they are good. Now, so inside this wrapping, it looks like it's wrapped like a gift, like a Christmas present. You got this white box. You open up the white box, and there's 8 individually wrapped Tokyo bananas. John Craven, would you like one?
Sure, why not?
There you go. Mike Schneider, would you like one?
Yes, please.
Because we have another Mike or another John. That's why I had to say their last names. Jacqui, as usual, I wish I could
Just
try.
pretend.
I thought it was actual just one banana in the box.
That'd be legit.
I had no idea. So I actually saw someone on Instagram opening up one of these, and it looked like the banana was much bigger. It's actually pretty small. It's probably like, I don't know, 3/4 the size of like a regular Twinkie, maybe even smaller than that.
Yeah.
And it's shaped like a banana.
Yeah, it's shaped like a banana. It comes in a lot of wrapping. So there's a plastic wrap around the banana, and the banana comes in this little tray, this little plastic tray as well. And then there's actually a preservative, what do they call those things? Like you have in shoes. Yeah, there's like a little preservative packet, I guess, so it doesn't go
Keep
dry.
the moisture out.
Yeah, do not eat, do not microwave. Why would you do either? I don't know.
This looks like a dessert you'd get in like a weird airplane meal.
Yeah, well, it's actually sold.
A good
of
weird airplane meal, though.
I had a feeling that Mike would really appreciate this, probably more than John, but I don't know. How do you feel?
It's all right.
It's all right.
The packaging is cool.
Yeah, packaging is really cool.
Was expecting something a little fancier.
Not a Twinkie.
It's kind of like biting into a banana cloud.
Yeah, I guess
Like,
the question for
The
me
outside's really fluffy and not as like, it's a lot fluffier than a Twinkie and a lot tastier too.
It's
How
got
much
like
banana flavor do you get out of it?
Lots.
A lot? Okay.
it tastes like you're biting a banana.
Because the cloud is also banana flavored.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just like banana in different form.
Yeah, it's quite good.
And you get these cool glasses for afterwards.
Stop.
Oh my goodness.
Mike just put the
He was the kid
Tokyo
that played
banana
with his
tray
food.
across his forehead or across his eyes.
it all makes sense.
I guess the question I have is, why is the box $15? It's 8 of these, so it's roughly $2 per Tokyo banana. Each of you owe me $2, by the way. So
Good luck collecting that.
You know what? I spent good hard money on this.
Cold hard cash?
Okay, cold hard cash. So yeah, I mean it's good. Is it worth about $2 per Tokyo banana? Perhaps. I'm
Maybe.
not sure.
There are dumber snacks you could buy for $2.
But the kids today, how are they affording this? That ain't cheap.
I'm doing
Maybe
Google
someone's
Translate.
like reselling them. They're buying them and then selling them at school lunches for $3.
So when I was at H Mart,
They're drop shipping them on their
You guys,
Amazon store and TikTok shop.
The translation on the front is Tokyo banana. I found it.
so at H Mart, you could tell that there were a lot of people buying because like they had enough of these. They had enough boxes, but it looked like they were down or they were going to be out by the end of the day. And yeah, once again, I guess I'm not really sure what makes a product viral, what makes a product more interesting to younger consumers than others, but for some reason, the kids love this. I don't know how long they're going to love this, so maybe it's just a little kind of mini trend or mini fad right now.
Has this taken over for like Dubai chocolate?
How to buy chocolate.
Well, that's another one. I mean, that's another thing. I mean that's kind of cool for like now, but will it be cool in 2 months? Probably not.
I don't know, but my daughter is home from college and she went and got some Dubai chocolate and brought it home. She did not share any with me.
And Dubai style chocolate is just chocolate made with pistachios, and
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure.
I still don't know what it tastes like. I've seen it. I've been within
need some.
tasting distance, but
It's
we need some
cool
Dubai chocolate.
to see though. I mean, like I think the kids love just international snacks and treats that, you know, maybe they couldn't usually get. So in the packaging plus like international flavors, they're like, let me have that. I want to try that.
Yeah. Okay. So I've seen this. So basically, it's a chocolate bar that is filled with pistachios and kataifa. And kataifa is a Middle Eastern treat that's made with shredded phyllo dough, I believe. Yeah, I'm sorry, Kanafa. It's a crispy shredded phyllo dough pastry.
That sounds awesome.
It was an exclusive Dubai treat until the Nuts Factory started importing it a few weeks ago. The bars are $20 each. Damn. Okay.
Now I know I shouldn't share it.
Yeah. Made me curse on the
bite was
podcast. I don't like that. I don't like that. Okay, Mike's got some Maazah.
I mean,
I know Mike's talked about Maazah a lot on this podcast, but we got to talk about it again because this is a tremendous brand here.
I mean, I love this brand. The founders are phenomenal. We gotten to meet them so many times, and this is their new. This is the first time we've gotten a chance to see their new packaging up close. Of course, we've gotten to see it, on Instagram and such. But and I missed their party at Expo West too. So this is just us getting to see it up close.
You mean at the Summer Fancy Food Show?
At the Summer Fancy Food Show, you're right. But yeah, it's really clear what this is now.
It's magic sauce.
Chutney. I love the magic sauce.
Yeah.
The branding is just sensational.
Two things I love about this branding. One, it looks very ethnic. It looks very specific to a certain part of the world, that being the Middle East.
Afghanistan?
Well, Afghanistan's part of the Middle East, is
right.
it not?
Yeah, no, I was just asking. That's where they're from.
Yeah.
So.
It's also described as magic sauce, which I love because it just feels like something that, I don't know, differentiates itself from other sauces. I don't know what, yeah. And then there's a call at the bottom of the label that says, put it on everything. There you go. So if you're confused about how to use it or what to put it on, you don't have to be. Just put it on everything. I like that.
I mean, I can't wait to try this on some of the other everythings I've been putting things on.
What the hell does that mean?
I mean,
lattes.
Maazah lattes. I don't know about that. We could try it. A savory latte. I don't know if anyone's ready for that yet, but I think, Fly by Jing chili crisp is something that I've been trying to put on everything, and of course, Glorious Chateau, trying to put that on everything.
What is that?
Glorious Chateau. You haven't had that yet? I've got some for you.
Glorious Chateau?
Yeah, Glorious Chateau. It's a.
Don't mess up.
I know. Don't. Or you can say. Just put that Chateau on everything. It's awesome. It's a new chili oil. It's Ghana style, and it has tomato in it. And it is amazing. And Gloria taught me how to make savory oatmeal with Gloria Chateau. And so then I tried it with chutney punch too. And it's just really good. Savory oatmeal is really good, but so are both those products. And maybe we can put Maazah on oatmeal too. Maybe. But I've got some, I'll give it to you after the show. And then I'd love to get your thoughts on it.
Jacqui has by her side a bottle of spirits whose founder attended BevNet Live last week.
Yeah, so Effie was at BevNet Live, and she got me to sample this at like 8:30 in the morning.
And the name of the brand is?
Kleos, Kleos.
Yes.
And it's a liqueur, but it's made out of mastilla. And mastilla is actually a sap from Greece, and they create this liqueur out of it. And she was having me try these like mixed basil cocktails, this like cold brew cocktail with it. It's pretty tasty, and it kind of just goes with any flavor that you put with it. But I found it like interesting. The packaging is pretty unique and eye-catching. It's pretty obvious that I would say it's Greek with like the evil eye. And like we were just saying, like people are really gravitating towards things that are unique, almost like giftable, and something that they haven't seen before. And I've never seen mastilla before.
I had a great conversation with Effie too. I think she also is a pretty unique, powerful person. I think the brand and her go really well together. It was a great conversation. I unfortunately wasn't trying it. Jacqui, how's it taste?
It tastes good. Yeah. I liked it actually with cold brew because it gave it a little bit of sweetness. And it was, really tasty, but she said it can really go with anything.
Yeah, that bottle is very unique. It's
With
hexagonally sided, I believe. Is that right? And then it's got that diamond cap, or it's sort of an oversized diamond-looking cap. Our very own Melissa Travers sat down with Effie for an interview as part of the Taste Radio studio at the event. You should definitely watch it. I believe, actually, dear listeners, that our Taste Radio studio interviews are actually gratis to view. So if you want to check
they
that
are
out.
now.
Yes, they are now. At least that one.
Ray just sanctioned it.
Yes, I just sanctioned it. So if you want to check that one out, please do, and you can check out about 20 or so other interviews.
There they all are free now.
That we recorded at the show.
Last episode, you may remember that we talked about You may remember that we
Yes,
talked
RMBR,
about
the brand. Yes.
Anyway, so RMBR kombucha, they sent us product, and it's so tasty. We've got turmeric, coconut, vanilla, hemp and blue spirulina, hibiscus and ginger. I mean, they've got so many good flavors here. My favorite is definitely the orange peel and vanilla bean, and then there's also a lavender as well. And these aren't even all of them. So thanks, for remembering us.